Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin Strang coming at you with my regular Sunday night dinner. And this is going to be the first of the group of MREs that I recently got in, that I showed on a mail call. I ordered from a Ration enthusiast on Facebook. And in order to protect that person's privacy, even though that person is here in the U.S., I'm just going to keep that person's identity private. But that person does know that I'm going to review these, well, most of them. And I'm going to show you something about this one. I just now noticed it. It's got the date stamped twice. Before I do that, I'm going to switch this to live chat. Got Cliff in the house. Got Ford is here. (0166). So somehow this one got double stamped. I think something happened with the 6 on this one. There's emphasis here, so it got double stamped. So this is 2020 pack. I do not believe this menu was around in 2010, plus the packaging would be a little bit different. So this is packed by Sapaco. There is Food Forest Permaculture, Howie from north of the border. Thanks for dropping in. It's got this point in the seal, which indicates where the peelable seal would be. Sometimes these things work, sometimes they don't. This and that with Matt in the house. Thanks for dropping in. These things are not the easiest to open sometimes. There was one, I think it was one of the clear bag ones. I think it was a totem where the point was it was not centered. But this one did open right. And Sapaco may be going the way of Ameriqual in their packaging, where they do this inner bag. This is how Sapaco does all of their halal MREs. This is how they do their civilian or low sodium MREs. So it does contain it more. Back in the day, the entrees and some of the other items used to come in a box. Say like the retort pouches would all come in a box, which would have all the info about the item. But to save weight, they got rid of that. So there is the beef. Then they put this sleeve in here that if you do it right, you could turn it into something to hold the pouch if you were to eat it out of the pouch. But because a tear notch goes across this way, it really doesn't work for eating it out of the pouch. But if you're using the flameless ration heater, you put the entree in that, get that going, and then you stick that thing inside here. Then cheese spread with jalapenos. And there is a secondary card for the seasoned black beans. There's spicy tuna rolls in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Got orange drink mix for the drinking jar. Got an oatmeal cookie. The usual spoon that always comes in these MREs. Got the flameless ration heater with all the instructions. And here's the accessory packet, which has something in it that I try to avoid. Then here is the black beans. And plain tortillas. Mama Styles in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I was just scrolling back through the chat to see who else had dropped in. And then something not all MREs include, but this one has it, the beverage bag. This will go into here, which I use as the trash bag. Of course, out in the field, someone who would have this MRE and has the ability to start a fire may use that cardboard to help start the fire. Now I'm going to open up this accessory pack. It's a rather large size considering the few contents that are in here. Got the usual rear roll. Got the Splenda sweetener. I don't use these. I try to avoid those artificial sweeteners. Coffee creamer. That will go into the foreign MRE mug. Got the Bill's Brew. Got the Moist Towelette. This is the peppermint gum. Then a packet of salt. For the older ration heaters, sometimes you may need to drop the salt in there along with the water to help kick it off. But since I saved the ration heaters and add them to my emergency stash, I will not be using that salt because I don't feel the need to salt the food. I mix this drink first because these tend to take a long time to dissolve. That's what it looks like. Kind of looks like Tang powder, which I do have in my emergency food supply. It doesn't quite look like Tang when it's mixed up. It just looks like orange Kool-Aid or any other orange flavored drink mix. "12 ounces of water. Now we'll set that back there. Apparently Bill's Brew seems to be the go-to instant coffee for US MREs. I guess they can get it cheaper than they can the other ones that would say like a type 2 or type 3. I like that they changed to this packaging a few years ago for the creamer. It's a lot better than the paper packets that used to be used. The same type that the other coffees like the type 1 or type 2 are still in. This one didn't open very well, but I can fix that easy. So that's the creamer on there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two, put them in the pot, and then these will warm from residual heat of the stove. I will be back. I am back. I just put a little bit of my own sugar into the cup, and I added the hot water. I do save these packets because I know people who have to use them, so I want them to be available for those who have to use those. And plus, if for some reason I either run out of my own sugar or I want to use it as a barter item, I can do that. There we go. I had to make a slight adjustment to that. A big oatmeal cookie. And it's in pieces. Well, this was actually a pretty thin bag when I picked it up. So that told me that there's really not a whole lot to this. It's been a few years since I had one of these. It might have been from a 2020, I don't remember, but the person I bought it from listed all of the ones that they had that did not contain pork, and I said, I'll just take them all. And in the mail call video, I showed that I had 2 of the beef brisket. So one of those will be opened up, and the other one I may just either keep for my personal enjoyment or as an emergency meal. Or I may trade it or offer it as a giveaway. I don't know. I gave that another mix. Yeah, Mama Styles. Uh, there is also sizable Muslim population in and around the Twin Cities. In fact, my mosque is going to be hosting an open house for the wider community next month. And so we are going to go ahead and start preparing for that. The last one we had was back in, I think, 2019. We have tried to do one every year. Of course, then the big nasty screwed with our fun. So we did not have one. So in 2020, 21, or 22, and now we are going to do it again. And then we are also going to resurrect the Muslim Day at the Capitol. And we will do pretty much the same thing, except on a larger scale there at the Capitol because it's a bigger space. And the legislators and their staff and the public and lobbyists can come to the rotunda of the Capitol building, meet us, talk with us, sample some of the foods that we will have for them to try. And then we get a picture of our whole group taken in the House chamber in front of the speaker's podium or the speaker's desk or platform. And then we will publish those pictures online. So we try to do that whenever the legislature is in session. So they ended their session in April, so we couldn't do it this time, but we have a Muslim community member who is in the State House of Representatives, and he usually coordinates that, so he's going to get on that right away. And speaking of food, I am going to go get the cheese bread and the tortillas. Cheese spread got warmed up, so it's very easy to knead. It should flow very easily out of the packet. Would have been nice if they had the chipotle tortillas. Oxygen absorber. And for those just joining in late, this is 2020 pack. The tortillas were not evenly folded, but that's okay. I'll go ahead and put those two there. And then I will go get the beef and the black beans. I am back. I just use this to carry my hot retorts from the kitchen. And I bring a paper towel so I can dry them off. I'm drying off the black beans first. And the tear notch goes across this way, so what I like to do, shake the food down so that when I go to open it, it's a lot cleaner of a tear. I'm going to put the black beans right there. It kind of looks like barbecue black beans or in a chili sauce. Get that thing out of the way so I can recenter my tray. Now I'll dry off the barbecue beef. If I were to use my flameless ration heater, only one of these would be able to really fit into the bag. The other one would have to be kind of stuck behind it. And then stick that in that cardboard sleeve. Lot of sauce. And it has kind of a sweet smell to it. So it's a sweet barbecue sauce. Well, this is what the barbecue beef looks like. It's probably close to a Sweet Baby Ray's. But it's a shredded beef, just like the name says. I almost could have saved one of the tortillas for dipping in that sauce. Well, definitely a messy meal for sure. That's a chili style sauce that the black beans are in. Yeah, we had rain, I think, a couple of days ago was our last more significant rain, even though that wasn't a whole lot. Then yesterday morning, I got up to get ready to go to the mosque to start the prep for the afternoon event. We had a dinner for a new imam who will be leading a lot of the prayers and doing their Friday sermons. Mike Kreischer's in the house. Thanks for dropping in. So we wanted to do a welcome dinner for him. The guy who has been our main imam will still be around, but he is just backing off because of some other life commitments that he has. So I was there cooking, helping to cook the lunch and then do other setup. So I was there for quite a bit of time. So we had a chicken curry for dinner, which turned out really, really good. Of course, because I have both of these in the same part of the tray, I can mix these. So the spicy, the savoriness of the beans will cut through the sweet of the barbecue sauce. Which is not a bad thing. In fact, I think I did this the last time I ate this particular menu. That actually tastes better with the two blended. You don't have the super sweet of the barbecue sauce, but yet the seasoning from the bean sauce definitely helps out. I just put the jalapeno cheese spread in the tortillas. And a little bit of the sauce dribbled on one, but that's okay. No, there is no rice in this one. There is a new MRE that is Mexican style rice and beans. It's a vegetarian one. I would be very interested in trying that one, so I'm going to have to look for that. I could still dip the tortilla in here just to take up some of that sauce. Get a little bite with the cheese. I like the jalapeno cheese spread so much better than the plain cheese spread because it doesn't taste as salty. This is your typical orange drink. It tastes more like an orange Kool-Aid or maybe mixed with an orange sports drink than it does the tang. Now these oatmeal cookies, when I opened it, I got the slight scent of cinnamon. Yeah, there is definitely cinnamon in here. I looked at the ingredients on this. I think the last time I ate one of these cookies, and it does have cinnamon in it. Thanks for dropping in, Matt. Hope to see you another time. Yeah, the other MREs I got a cheese tortellini, and I got the veggie crumbles in a taco style sauce. It's got pasta in there. And then I have a humanitarian HDR, a menu 2. And that's one of the newer ones. And that one was packed by Sapaco. But I don't remember what the menu 2. I think Warnick does some of the HDRs. Or Mariqual does some of them. I don't know. I don't know for sure which packers do the HDRs. I think 2 of them do. And the way they pack them might be slightly different. But when I do that one, because there's 2 entrees, they would be done somewhat like this. I would just eat them both as part of the same meal. Plus, there's usually a cookie and the crackers and that smoothie. I think there's a couple of different of those smoothies which are almost pudding thickness. And of course I have the brisket one. I have 2 of those, but I will only open up one during a stream. The other one, I said at the beginning, I will either just have as part of my personal stash as an emergency meal, or I may trade it or give it away. I won't sell it. You know, and I also said, I told the buyer that I will review most of these on my channel. And that person thought it was totally cool. That person follows other reviewers because other reviewers are in this same chat. And then there are people who are not reviewers that I know of, but they just enjoy collecting and trying the rations. Well, these beans would be perfect as a hot dog topper. Now, if one of the ration packers would bring back a hot dog menu with obviously much improved hot dogs, although I have never tried the hot dog menus. There are two versions of that, so I have never tried those. They're both brown bag, just different years, but there's a slightly different version of the hot dog. I've always wanted to try that particular one. So that would be another one that I'd like to get my paws on. I haven't had an MCW in a while either, and I heard that there are some new MCW menus, so I would like to try those. James Ortiz in the house, thanks for dropping in. 2020 pack. And they put that in the accessory pack, but I replace it with real sugar. Yeah, I mixed the black beans in with the barbecue beef. And I really like it that way because the barbecue sauce is a very sweet one. It reminds me of Sweet Baby Ray's. Their basic barbecue sauce. And then when you add the chili flavor of the black bean sauce to it, it cuts that sweetness and it gives a little bit of that spice to the beef. Now there's not a whole lot of beef in here, so adding the black beans supplements that protein that you would otherwise get from having the meat. There is Sharon in the house. Good day. Thanks for dropping in. I just put the jalapeno cheese spread in the tortillas. Then I dip it in the sauce. Now the jalapeno cheese spread is a good one. Be nice if the tortillas were the chipotle ones. I really like those. But these are actually pretty nice for 2020. I warmed them up just from the residual heat of the stove. And I did the same with the cheese spread, but I pulled them off before I went and got the retorts out of the pot. Well, I've seen lots of shorts. I've seen lots of shorts on people riding buses. I've seen lots of shorts in the places where I've done my grocery shopping for the month. I've seen the shorts from people in this apartment building. So yeah, I've seen lots of shorts. I did put up a short of Pumpkin drinking water from my kitchen sink faucet. I can put down a freshly filled bowl of water, but she is one of those cats that apparently got into a habit of drinking from a dripping faucet in the bathroom of her previous humans. So when I took her in, said, I am not going to deny her. Of course, when I'm gone, she has to drink out of the bowl. I hope things are going good down there, Sharon. I hope you're having a good Monday so far. It is Monday morning in Australia. I don't think a lot of people do, Mike, but sometimes you just got to get stuff done. I need to do laundry, but I have been busy with event prep and other stuff, doing my shopping. I got up my deck garden update video today. But my basil is going bonkers again. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and harvest some. I can't pickle because I can't grow a lot of the plants that I would like to grow. My deck faces north, so I don't get a whole lot of sun. I get a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening, probably about an hour before sunset. And then that's pretty much it for any direct sun. So I try to stick with stuff that grows in the shade. Of course, I have some things in some of my pots that I have absolutely no idea Doesn't look like what it's supposed to be. And I've had some bugs eating some of my leaves. They're doing it at night where I can't see them, so I have no idea what they are. I got mints out there, so mints are supposed to ward off bugs. And I planted marigold seeds, but none of those took off. So I don't know if I just got bad seeds or I'm doing something wrong with the marigolds, but anyway, my mustard plant went to flower. Now it's going to seed, so I'm going to get some mustard seeds out of that thing. This is my first time growing a lot of the plants that are out there. Yeah, I don't have lemongrass. And I don't know if it is shade tolerant, so I would have to do a little digging on that. I may have to do what a lot of others have done, is get something called diatomaceous earth. And then put that down. And that seems to be very good at taking care of bugs. So I will give that a go next year. But, I'm learning something new every year. I've used some organic plant food, although I haven't put any on this month. Some of my plants are just so tightly packed that it would be hard to get that stuff down onto the soil, so I think I just may skip it and just keep that for next year. There is Steve Brahms, also known as Willie, my Iowa brother. He has a 3B farm here in Iowa. Thanks for dropping in. I hope everything is going well for you there. I have been to the Brahms property a few times. I love it there. It is a great place. They keep busy all summer long with the farmers markets. And some direct sales to other people who can get there. I can't get there by myself. It's just too far away. I don't drive, so I have to bum rides every now and then. Yep. They have some very packed greenhouses. Plus, there are outdoor fields that they plant in. So, a very, very busy family there. And I've had some of their very fresh eggs 12 hours out from the back end of the chicken. It can't get much better than that. Having eggs that fresh. That beats mass produced eggs any day. Have a drink of my coffee. Huh, funny you say bluefin. I thought it was albacore. I could be wrong on that. My cheese tortellini MRE. I may have a little fun with that. By putting some Parmesan cheese on it after I heat it up. Yeah, that I probably when I was a kid, I may have had eggs that fresh. But then again, maybe not. You know, I only lived on a small farm for a couple of years when I was preschool age. There's Diana in the house. Thanks for dropping in. You're looking at a 2020 pack, US MRE menu 2. This is one of the lot that I bought from a Ration lover on Facebook. Yeah, this is the shredded beef and barbecue sauce plus black beans in a chili type sauce, and then I just mixed the two together. The barbecue sauce is very, very sweet, so the bean sauce kind of cuts that sweetness and then lends a little bit of that spice to the barbecue beef. And then here I got the jalapeno cheese spread. You can see those green bits, that's the jalapenos in the tortilla. And this is an oatmeal cookie, but it has cinnamon in it. It was already broken. But these cookies are very, very good. The cookie still has crunch. I like to, I've been dipping the tortilla with the cheese spread in this sauce. There's so much of that sauce that I just dip the tortilla in it. This is a typical orange drink that you would get in the US MRE. Tastes like orange Kool-Aid mixed with a sports drink. And then I got the coffee in the mug. But they put the Splenda in here. I don't use this stuff, but I hold on to it. I either save it for people who I know that have to use artificial sweeteners, despite what they can do to you, or as an emergency thing. And of course I can also use it as a barter item, just like this. This little rear roll. And I do the same with the gum. I'm not much of a gum chewer, but I do hold on to these. And the salt. Anything that I do not use, like these spoons, they get added to my stash of plastic utensils that I can use in case I have to severely restrict my water use and rely on my stored water or any rainwater that I manage to collect on my deck, which I would treat to make it safe to use, either by running it through one of my filters or using a water purification tablet. Thanks for dropping in, LC. Hopefully can hang another time. So because I have vegetarian MREs, I will do one of those next week. And then I will go after the brisket one the week after that. And then another vegetarian one. Yep, someone must be a really big Jays fan. Probably has pictures of his favorite players plastered all over the walls. We have minor league sports teams here in Des Moines. We have the Iowa Cubs, which is an affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. We have the Des Moines Menace, which is our minor league soccer team. And then we have the Iowa Barnstormers, which is in the Arena Football League. And then we have 2 hockey teams, the Des Moines Buccaneers, which is in one league, and then the Iowa Wild, which is in another hockey league. And then we have a minor league basketball team. They've had several names, but I think they go by the Iowa Wolves now. So we have a pretty decent sports scene going on here. And we have had some, I don't know if they still do it, but we used to have Golden Gloves boxing here. But I don't know if that has picked up again in the past few years. Oh, ouch. James, you know what you might want to do? This is a Bluetooth keyboard. And this is made by, I keep the anchor box because I actually put this on here to kind of raise it up off the table. This is a Bluetooth keyboard. And I have it paired with my Kindle. So that might be a good backup plan. If you can do Bluetooth Yeah, Anchor is known for their power banks, and they have some power stations. About the mid-range, like 500 watt, maybe 300 watt, plus the smaller power banks. Right now, this keyboard is the only Anchor product that I own, but I would like to get some of their power banks. Yeah, I have other brands of power banks, but because I use mine so much, that they just crap out after a lot of that very frequent charging, discharging. Yeah, that's what I have heard about the Anchor power banks is they last a lot longer than other ones. And I have some that I've had for years. They still run, but not for very long because the battery capacity and the battery type in there is just not what current ones are now. But I definitely do want to get some Anchor power banks. This keyboard that I have was actually given to me when the Kindle was given to me after my desktop computer crapped out, and then an older laptop that I had, that crapped out. I do have a laptop, but I have such a hard time using the laptop because I can't separate the screen from the keyboard. And in order for it to be more user-friendly for me, I have to be able to separate that. And so by having a Bluetooth keyboard connected to my Kindle, I can do that. Oh, DeCarlos Perry in the house, thanks for dropping in. You're looking at what's left of the barbecue shredded beef mixed with the spicy black beans. Or they're not super spicy, but they're savory. They're in a chili style sauce. I mixed the two together, and that cuts the sweetness of the barbecue sauce. Jalapeno cheese spread in a tortilla. And I've actually been dipping that in the sauce too. This is a 2020 pack menu too. Got an oatmeal cookie. It was broken in the packaging, but it's still very good. And it's got cinnamon in there, which I really like. Just kind of improves the flavor of the cookie. And got the orange drink. Powder looks like Tang, but it doesn't quite have that Tang flavor. And I got the Bill's Brew in the mug. But I definitely like the mixture of the black beans with the barbecue beef. Although it would be nice if they would actually put more beef in here because there's so much sauce. You almost have to have something to dip in it to soak up some of that sauce. But this is definitely a good one. I would eat this on rice. I think that would be good. De Carlos, I hope you're doing okay now since you had to have something done. Yeah, I hope that has given you some relief so far getting that one yanked, and then hopefully you'll get even more relief once you get that second one done. Yeah, I had to have a tooth crowned last month before I went on my annual family trip because that tooth literally broke. But there was enough left that the dentist could shape a base for a crown, so I got the crown on there. So this will be the third crown that I've had done at this particular dental clinic, and so far I'm happy. Yeah, they can be, and then sometimes they can be as slick as a whistle. I've had some that were so easy that I thought the dentist had only taken two. You know, the wisdom teeth, when I had those taken out, all of them were taken out in one shot. Yeah, the dentist offered it, it would cost about the same out of pocket as if I were to get a bridge because I have an open spot where a tooth was that could not be crowned. But I just decided to wait on that. Yeah, because the tooth that got crowned has a very solid root, good solid base. Just it just it broke where a filling wasn't. Fillings wear out over time, but anyway, I'm happy with it now. Plus, I still have the gold crown that I got back in '97, and that one is on the back teeth, and that one is still holding strong. Only reason why I got the gold one back then is the only other material that was available is not suitable for back teeth. But the gold alloy that was used back then is extremely strong. Uh, it doesn't wear down like a ceramic type wood. And of course, the benefit of it is also if for some reason I have to lose the root, I can still keep that gold and it'll have some value. I wish the dental insurance would cover more of it, but I like the payment options that I'm able to get. It's a lot better than what I get for coverage for my glasses. The insurance will only cover up to $100 for the frame, nothing on lenses. And because my lenses are a very complex one to make, they're expensive. So I don't get new glasses every 2 years like the insurance would allow, because the lenses are just so expensive. But I hold anytime I do get a new pair of glasses, I don't get rid of the old ones. I keep them because they're part of my backup plan. I could stick an older pair of glasses in my bug out bag. That way, if something should happen to the ones I'm currently wearing, I still have those, plus some other pairs that I have stashed around. Going back to the gold crowns, if I were to get a gold crown now for the same, like a tooth in the same position on the opposite side of my mouth, it would probably cost twice as much as the other material that the dentist that I go to now, that they use. So you'd have to have a lot more ability to cover that one if you were to get a gold crown these days, because the gold has really shot up since I got mine back in '97. So I guess you can type by number. Yeah, I'm overdue as well, but and the insurance will cover the cost of the eye exam, but that's as far as I would be able to get without spending an amount that would be maybe within $100 of how much I pay for rent each month. And not all of the places where I can go to get glasses can do my lens type in-house. They would have to send it out to another place to cut them, and to shape them to match the prescription. And that adds to the time that it takes to get it done, and it adds to the cost of it. And you have to actually go there to that place where they actually make them to do the final check to see if they need to make any changes or redo them. Whereas if I can have it done right there, say like at a Wiley eye care center, they do all of the lenses themselves. So if there is an issue, then it takes less time to correct it than if they have to send them out to some other place where I possibly wouldn't be able to get to. At least not without a driver. If it's not accessible by bus, I just don't want to bother with it. Oh, that is so not cool. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff you do not want to be messing with. In an open wound like that, that's just plain wrong. Sorry about that, I bumped it. Yeah, that. Yeah, there's so many better ways to handle that, James. You think they would have known better? I was only the level of a nurse aide. And if I had to take care of an open wound, I made sure that I was using the correct stuff and not a household cleaner. Multi-Magnum in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Hope things are going well for you. I'm down to my cookie. Lauren's drinking my coffee. 2020 pack. And for some reason, this had the date stamp twice on the corners, but it looks like this one here, the second 6 got messed up. So I guess they did it again. That's okay. Life happens. Yeah, glad you made it. Even if for a little while. Yeah, that fishy fella's in here. Swimming around the internet. Two Sundays ago, I was not here because I left that day for my family's annual trip to Lake Icaria. That is southwest of here, outside of the town of Corning. Yeah, Smokey was not on last night. So, something must have come up that prevented him from going live last night. So, he will probably either post an update as soon as he can, or maybe he will message someone who would then post an update if that's what he wants. Yeah, he's been dealing with a lot of stuff there. Still can't drink the water at his place because of the contamination of the water source several months back. You can't even treat it because you need something that would have to get rid of all those chemicals, and your ordinary filter just can't do it. So he and his family are relying on bottled water or water they get from a place they know to be safe. Here in Des Moines, we have a very expensive system in our water treatment plant that filters out what are called nitrates and nitrites from the two rivers that we get our water from, because all of that stuff comes as runoff from the large commercially run farms that run along those rivers, the Des Moines River, the Raccoon River, plus any smaller rivers or streams that feed into them. And if they didn't have that system to filter all that stuff out, our water would not be safe to drink. Yep, this is yep. Doesn't want to hold focus for some reason. It's packed by Sapaco 2020. So the oatmeal cookie has cinnamon in it. I can smell that cinnamon when I open the wrapper. Still holding its crunch. This thing you see right there, that's part of my phone mount. So I haven't figured out a way to position this so it would not be in the way. Yeah, I plug it into my power bank, and then so the cord runs to the right. Because right next to here is, I have this table right next to my desk that I have my non-functional computer and a laptop on. So I really don't have a good place I can clip my phone mount onto, but I can clip it onto this table. And I have a light pointing down from the left. So that's why you can see the light here. Whereas if I didn't have this light, I'll just block it with my hand. It looks a little darker. And there's more of a shadow from the foam mount itself. Plus I think everything just shows up better when you have a little bit of extra light from both sides. Yeah, the other light is in my ceiling fan. Yeah, it was only in the 70s here. And Iowa used to be known for what we used to call state fair heat. The 10 days of the Iowa State Fair would be super, super hot, super humid. But we are only in the 70s Fahrenheit today. So it's probably like 60, or no, like 22, 23, 24 Celsius. Give or take a degree or three. So very unusual for August. And earlier in the late spring and early summer, they're predicting a lot of extreme heat. for the rest of the summer, but we won't be back in the 90s Fahrenheit until after the state fair ends. You know, when the kids go back to school. And my oldest sister goes back to work at the school that she has been teaching at since August of 1984. My oldest sister had this job lined up at the middle school where she's been at since then. Probably like a week or two before she went through her graduation ceremony at Iowa State University. And she graduated with honors. So she got to wear the two honor cords during the ceremony. Yeah, she has been at that same school ever since. Wow, that's definitely going to be a big change for you, not having him home all the time. Yeah, good. It'll be a good experience for the little guy. Yeah, I'm getting up in that age range too. My age represents the number on a condiment bottle. But only for a few more months. I'm pretty sure most of you get that. Uh, nope, time is just flying by so much faster. Yep, my mom will turn 80 in October. Yeah, my oldest sister will be 61 on a different day in October. So she's going to continue working until she can draw the Social Security and get the Medicare. She actually officially retired from full-time teaching, but then she went back as a substitute and a teacher assistant so that she can keep her IPERS, which is a pension program for any government employee, and public school teachers are classified as government employees. My second oldest sister works for the TSA, so she gets the IPERS. So my oldest sister is building back up the IPERS, and then when she completely quits and is able to draw Social Security and get on Medicare, she will have that IPERS to supplement the Social Security. Plus, she wants to keep working because she still has a few more years left to pay on her house, on her mortgage. So she will continue to work until she gets that paid off. And then she can hopefully have some years of stress-free living. Of course, we will still do everything we can to help our mom, who has her own issues. Yeah, my brother turned 51, or no, 50, he turned 52 last month, but he was not able to join us on our family trip because he's working. He hasn't been at his job long enough where he can get a vacation. Plus, it was good that he... Oops, sorry about that brief disconnect. I do apologize for that. As I was about to say, it's a good thing he was there at the house where he's staying with two of my sisters who share a house, because a few days before we left, the air conditioner in that house crapped out, and so my brother actually had the day off, so he was there when the air conditioner guy came in to install some new parts to keep it going at least for a few more years. And then my older nephew could not join us because he was actually sick for a few days. And then when he got better, he went back to work. But my younger nephew and his fiance came out. So we still had a good time. I caught 3 fish. Thanks for dropping in, Mike. But we are booked for Lake Icaria for 2025. I don't know how it is in other parts of the country at state and county parks and national parks with campgrounds or open camping. If you have to make your reservations for your target dates 2 years in advance at least. Yeah, after 2020, we had to start booking the 2 cabins that we use at Lake Icaria 2 years in advance in order to get roughly the same time period. You know, late July, early August. You know, we go before the state fair, even if none of us goes to the fair. I haven't been to the state fair probably since I think 2018 was the last time I went. Oh, that is gonna be a bugger. Yeah, someone is going to get some more hardware. Eventually, I will have to get that in my right knee because I have no cartilage in it whatsoever. But I still try to enjoy life. Yeah, I have known a few people who have had that fusion. And it's a rough one. But if it's done right and the surgeon has some mad skills, some people can still get relief even if they don't have the full motion. If they're not in pain or they don't have the numbness going on. I got back issues myself. I have herniated discs. But I've never been able to get any doctor to tell me whether those herniated discs are Memorex, Maxell, TDK, or what. They won't tell me that. Apparently that's some kind of a classified secret. Then again, those discs may be some known or unknown knockoff brand for all I know. Yeah, I can't sit for too long before I have to just get up and move. I can't stand in one place for too long before I have to move around to keep my feet from going numb. But I still enjoy life. Yeah, I probably messed mine up moving my clients when I was doing home health work. And I had one client who's taller than me, pretty much dead weight. So I had no Hoyer lift to move this guy from a bed to a wheelchair or the toilet. So I probably messed things up doing stuff like that without being able to get any assistance. When I had clients that had the Hoyer lift, that was so much easier. If I was taller, I probably would have been able to handle that guy a lot easier, but because I'm short, it makes things a little bit more difficult, but I managed to do it. I just can't do that kind of stuff anymore. So when I'm in the mosque kitchen, if I don't have to lift those big heavy pots full of food to move them around, I don't do it, but if I'm there by myself, then of course I have to do it, but if I'm there with someone else, then we'll either do it together or that other person will move them. And a 10-pound bag of rice turns into almost like 30 pounds in the pot, and then you add the weight of the pot. That's almost like 40 pounds worth of weight to move around. It used to be a lot harder until we got a cart that we can move things around on, from the mosque kitchen to wherever the food is going to be served from, because we split the room. And we have one side all the men and older boys sit, and then on the other side the women and the little kids sit. So we have this cart so we can move things around a whole lot easier, and instead of having to carry one pan across at a time, we can load up this cart and move it so much faster. Ooh, a rotator cuff would not be fun. I mean, that's what does a lot of baseball players. That can do them in. You hear about baseball players having to get the rotator cuff surgery because they've messed that up. Yeah, I went to school with someone who had the scoliosis, and he was actually fortunate to be able to get a brace when he did, because if he would not have been able to have access to that, it probably would have gotten so bad where his quality of life would have been a whole lot less than it ended up being once he got to adulthood. But he got one of the early generations of those braces. So it wasn't, no doubt it wasn't the most comfortable thing for him to wear. But he was glad to have it. I mean, this is back in the mid-'80s. So obviously things have improved since then. Now we have services like that here in Des Moines, de Carlos, and of course nowadays the lifts on the vehicles are so much better. The vehicles themselves are much better designed. If the service provider can afford them. Of course, if it's a public transit service like our DART here, what DC has, there are federal grants available to those transit systems to get vehicles either all or partially paid for. But the private companies that do contract work, say we have one here in town called Fraser, but they do a lot of moving around of people who get the VA benefits that allow them to get transportation to and from doctor's appointments, therapies, and things of that nature. Or seniors who can get this benefit from their insurance. Although sometimes these companies have been known to mess up either by forgetting to pick up people or they send the wrong vehicle. Like one of my former clients, she booked a trip to go to a grocery store, which is something she's allowed to once or twice a month through the service. They sent an ambulance. So someone there at their dispatch messed up. So she had to complain about that and tell the driver she did not want an ambulance. She wanted to go grocery shopping. Or one time our paratransit service sometimes uses taxis instead of the mini buses. They sent a taxi that cannot accommodate a wheelchair to a person who uses an electric wheelchair. And so that trip was messed up because that person was supposed to go to a doctor's appointment. Yeah, and some states there may be state funding for public transit. We had a bill in the legislature go through to have an additional funding opportunity for mass transit here in Iowa, which allows a city to increase what's called a utility franchise fee. And so that bill passed through the Iowa State Legislature, and it was signed by the governor. So now it is up to the city council to decide if they want to go ahead and do that. And what that would do is that would allow the city to rely less on property taxes for the majority of the funding for the DART services and go with this additional franchise fee. That way property taxes would not have to be raised as much, if at all, at least to cover the public transit, and then the individual person paying a franchise fee on whatever it is, for the individual person, it wouldn't amount to much. But because there would be more people paying that, that's probably equivalent to several property tax assessments. Yeah, people here who have access to these specialized transit services using vehicles that don't follow a fixed route like the city buses do, they, depending on what the payer is, whether it's insurance or some other program, they get a certain number of medical trips per month. They get a certain number of shopping trips per month. And then they can get a certain number of unclassified trips, whether it be to go see a movie or just go to the state fair, even though we have buses that go there. But there may be people who do not live close to a city bus route. They could book a trip to and from the state fair, for example, or to take in an Iowa Cubs game. Things of that nature. I had a former client who got these rides to a senior center where he would spend most of the day and then get a ride home. You can think of it, the term loosely used, as adult daycare. Or these places have activities for the people to take part in, whatever they want. This one client I had, he went there every weekday. Yeah, I would agree on that one. That is whack, because there are some meds that you cannot get through mail order. And personally, I wouldn't trust the Postal Service to handle any prescription meds that I take. Not even a simple one like my thyroid medicine or my allergy medicine. That box that I got the other day, that took a few dings on the corners. And I had an envelope that fortunately was either a bill or a piece of junk mail, but the envelope had been slit open partially. And of course, Joe of Garden State Gardener, he had sent me some seeds, and the seed packet got slit open and only left me with 5 of those seeds. So at least I was able to salvage those. But anytime I send a package, I layer it. If I'm sending seeds to someone, which I have done, I put a few layers around those seed packets just to give them a little extra protection. I don't care if it costs me more than postage. I'll do it because I want the recipient to get what I put in the mail in the first place. Just finished off the orange drink. As I said, my insurance, my health insurance keeps sending me stuff about getting prescriptions mailed to me. No, I do not trust the Postal Service to carry my meds. Because there are people who will try to raid those packages and steal contents. Years ago, in one place I lived, we didn't have a secure location to put outgoing mail. And there were people going through those envelopes looking for checks and money orders that were being put in there to make payments for bills, and then somehow reclose those envelopes or just throw them away, and then the intended recipients would never get those payments. So then we had to look for a different place to mail from. Either find one of those blue mailboxes, drop it into, or take it into a post office. And then the apartment manager had new mailboxes installed that had drop slots where you could slip outgoing mail into, and nobody could get at it except the mail carrier. That's what we have here in front of my building, is the bank of mailboxes with out slots that only the mail carrier can get into to get the outgoing mail out while they're putting incoming mail into the individual boxes. Yep. Yep, that's right. I do not agree with some people on some things, but I just keep that to myself. We just go on about our business and call it good. Yep. Yep, that's what I like. Now, if only we can get certain departments to agree to us getting foreign rations in without being hassled about it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Yep, it's really nice here too. And I was outside on my deck earlier. It did not feel like August at all. It felt more like late May. Yep, 72 degrees Fahrenheit here. That is not typical August. I was telling someone recently that we're not going to have our usual state fair heat till after the fair's over. I mean, in the past at this time of night, even though it's already dark, the temperature would still be in the upper 80s. So the state fair will run, it started this past Thursday, and it'll go till next Sunday will be the last day of it. And for a couple of days after that, it'll be in the 90s. Yes. And if it were like that here, someone would be turning on the heater, but not me. 47 would not be cold enough for me to want to turn the heat on. Just finished off the coffee. Yeah, we had our last storm a few days ago, so that's probably where that storm went. Is where John's at. Yep. Yep, up there where Cliff is at. He will start having actual night pretty soon. Yeah, there are YouTubers I watch who are around the Fairbanks area. And then there, although I'm not subscribed, there's another channel that I have watched, and they are up near North Pole. The town is called North Pole. So they are farther up than those who live around Fairbanks. And then there are a couple who they each have their own channel, but they own property up in Alaska. And I think it might be near Fairbanks as well. I could be wrong. There's Bush Radical and then Girl in the Woods. They live most of the time in Michigan, but they have worked and still own a property up in Alaska in a rural area where they have a completely off-grid cabin. They either have to bring water in or catch rainwater when they want to spend time up there. And then their son bought a nearby property, and he is actually building his own cabin there. So mom and dad have been up there helping him out with that. Yeah, black flies are probably bad up there. I have never seen them here in Iowa, but from some channels I watch that are in Minnesota and Michigan and Alaska and the Canadian channels, black flies are really annoying. And they're almost as annoying as mosquitoes. Now, they may not carry certain diseases that some mosquitoes can, but they are nevertheless just as annoying. Yeah, speaking of bugs, I would sure like to know which ones have been chowing down on a few of my plants. Not all of them, but a few have had big portions eaten out of some of the leaves. Oh, James, I bet that was an awesome experience. I bet the fishing up there is pretty darn good. And my late dad used to hang around with some buddies who had gone up to Canada to fish. My dad never went up there, but he had gone to northern Minnesota in and around the Boundary Waters area. So he had gone up there to fish, but he had never gone into Canada like some of his friends did. So he would tell us about all the stuff that those guys did, you know, the different kinds of fish they caught and how big some of them were. Yeah. The salmon was probably a farm raised salmon and not a wild caught. Yeah, the channel, yeah, Alaska Granny, she goes salmon fishing, so she can catch her limit of salmon and either can it or freeze it so she can have it year round. But here where I'm at, the few times I have been able to get a hold of some salmon, it's been mass produced, you know, like vacuum packed and frozen. So I season it when I cook it. Yeah, if I just ate that salmon plain, it probably wouldn't have a whole lot of flavor. I mean, it looks good, but you can definitely tell that it's been through a lot to get from the river to my freezer. Well, thanks for dropping in. Good to see you. I'm probably going to close this one out pretty soon anyway, since everything is pretty much gone. But next week I'll bring out one of the vegetarian MREs. September, there may be 2 Sundays where I will not be live. One will be the weekend of my younger nephew's wedding. And we're going to be spending the night there because we're going some distance from here. And then I got to make some contacts again because I haven't received any response to my previous messages about me volunteering at the White Eagle Multicultural Powwow. And I do not want to miss out on that because I really enjoy doing that. I do the kids' crafts there. So I need to find someone else who is going who can give me a ride. And I need to find out whether I will bring my own tent again or if we go with the idea that I and another person were kicking around about me actually sleeping in one of the teepees that are set up there. Because they're talking about having more teepees set up around there. So if I get to sleep in one of those, that would be sweet. And I could store all the craft supplies in there to keep them from getting wet from any rain, and in case it does rain. But I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good for tonight. Of course, I'm also going to be on the hunt for more rations to add to my supply. So anyway, I do want to thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. So come back next week if you can. Thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.